Good evening and welcome. I'd like to apologize for running a few minutes late. We had two other committee meetings just before this meeting. I'd like to call the April 14th, 2014 Board of Education meeting to order. Roll call, please.
Trustee Adams, absent. Trustee Guido. Here. Trustee Lane. Here. Trustee McDonald. Here. Trustee Shellis here. Trustee Schoolmaster.
Here.
President Barry.
Here. Next item, please.
Pledge of Allegiance to the flag. Mr. Daniel Hartley, Principal of Duval Elementary School, will introduce students who will lead in the Pledge of Allegiance.
Thank you all for having us tonight. I'd like to introduce Christopher and Sydney Mathis, who will lead us in the pledge tonight. You guys can step right up there and face the camera right here.
Oop, you're in the way.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Nicely
You guys
done.
can come up here.
Good job. Good job, Sydney. For you. Great job. Thank you.
Thank you for being here. Thank you for being here.
Thank you.
Thanks, Tom.
Next item, please.
Superintendent's updates, agenda items.
First on agenda items, you'll notice in the action items, we're beginning to do the bond work. Just to remind the taxpayers in the community that we said when the bond got approved that the work would start this summer and run for about 2.5 years. It's always interesting because, you know, the community approves the bond back in November, and then you don't see any work for 6-7 months. Everybody wonders what's going on. But remember, we said all along that the bond work wouldn't start until this summer, because that's when we can do school work. We can't do a lot of it while kids are in, and it'll take us about 2.5 years of projects. And very shortly on the web, you'll be able to follow the bond projects in terms of what the projects are, dates of projected completion, and cost information so that you can track that as a taxpayer, how we're doing on the bond projects. Then on non-agenda items, bear with me, I have several. A lot of events this time of the year. We have Dearborn Youth and Arts Festival, where we have the Dearborn Public Schools Citywide Art Show, April 16th through May 28th. And I got to go over there today and take a look at the artwork, and our students are amazing at the talent that they have. And I always have to pick just one for the Superintendent's Award, and it's very difficult to do. Secondly, the 3 high schools are having their Unity Run on May 3rd, Saturday, May 3rd, at Ford Field Park in Dearborn. The event will include a 1-mile walk, a mile run for elementary, 2 miles for middle school, 5K for high school, 5K for staff and family. It's being run by the anti-bullying and peer mediation teams at the 3 high schools. They've joined together to have this annual 5K run to promote respect, tolerance, safety, and kindness within our school districts. So certainly we encourage everybody to go out and support the 3 high schools Unity Run on May 3rd. We also have an event, Dearborn High School, their movie. Every year they do a full-length movie. And on May 8th and 9th at 7 p.m. at the Performing Arts Center, this year's movie, The 49-Cent Store, will be available for viewing. So May 8th and 9th for the movie. Dearborn's Got Talent is showcasing the best of the city of Dearborn, all of the Dearborn High School students, and it's sponsored by the Dearborn Youth Affairs Commission, and that's on Tuesday, May 13th at the Performing Arts, so look for ticket information on that. And Eddie Forcori, I think, is here to talk about the Green Tide Dinner very quickly, an event to celebrate 2 great groups of people. Go ahead, Eddie.
Thank you. Thank you, Board of Education, for having me up here. I appreciate the opportunity to convey to our community a wonderful event that's coming up May 7th. It's a great way for us to not only thank all of our partners throughout the year, but to showcase and highlight the achievements and the accolades of our district, our teachers, and our students. So we are going to put on a great dinner, so come have dinner with us May 7th at the Performing Arts Center. It's being catered by Habib's Cuisine. The city, the superintendent, our board of directors have all been very supportive of making this happen. We know that you all are very, very helpful in promoting and bringing recognition to the event, so we want to thank you for that. We welcome everyone to come attend and see the great achievements of our our youth, all the great things that they're winning and going on to for higher education. You can go to our website at dearbornedfoundation.org. You can register directly online. The deadline for registration is April 22nd. Our target is 250 attendees. We have quite a few table reservations already, and we're hoping that more will come in the next 10 days. This event has been going on for a while. This is the first year it's in a dinner format. We usually conduct this as an expo at the Michael Berry Center. The feedback from our supporters and those in attendance has been, let's change it into a dinner format. So we've come up with the brand of Green Tie Dinner. It's something we hope will last for many years to come. It would be great if you do wear a green tie. It's not a necessity. Some of our past recipients have been from our Congressman Dingell to Judge Hultgren to University of Dearborn, Michigan, Ish Ahmed. What we try to do is highlight the great partnerships we have in the corporate world as well as the prominence that we have in our community and our school district with our prominent residents and our great alumni. And this year we're recognizing Ford Motor Company Fund, and our Prominence Award is going to Mr. Brem, who's an alum from Fortson High School. He's done great things for our students, but one of the things you're going to learn at this event are all the byproduct of the investment from Mr. Brem throughout our district. Not everyone can be a Brem, but what he has created is a ripple effect of achievement regarding all the other schools in our district. And he's set the bar quite high, and other investors of our community has stepped up and saw what he was able to do, and everyone's doing their part. And that's what this event is about. Come have dinner with us, find out all the great things, and then walk away with learning how you can invest in our organization as well. So thank you.
Certainly, Mr. Brum has done a lot of great things for our community, and so has the Ford Fund over the last few years, so it'll be a good evening.
Absolutely.
A couple other events real quick. Revenue Estimating Conference will happen in mid-May. Then they're expecting to have the school aid bill passed by the end of May. As you know, I've shared with you the House, the Governor, and the Senate's proposals and how each one impacts us. Also on May 1st, 6:30 to 7:30, the county is going to be hosting legislative committee or meetings with parents and legislators. I'll get you more information on the one that's closest to us on that. Then I want to congratulate Christine Dula, who is retiring with 24 years of service, Barb Reynolds with almost 28 years of service, and Barbara Sage, who is a bus driver with 24 and a half years of service. We certainly congratulate all of them and wish them the best of luck in their next phase of life. That's all my report, please.
Thank you. Next item, please.
Citizen participation, citizens wishing to address the board on an agenda and non-agenda items for action who are signed in by 7:10 PM by submitting a blue card to the secretary may speak at this time. The board has no blue cards.
Thank you. Next item.
Approval of minutes. Approval of the minutes of the following Dearborn Board of Education meetings. Regular P12 meeting, March 24th, 2014. Board Report 13-123. Executive session closed legal, March 24th, 2014. Board Report 13-124. Recommended action, make any necessary corrections, and move approval of these minutes.
So moved.
Support?
We have a motion support. Are there any additions, corrections? There is no objection. The motion will be adopted. Next item, please.
Recognition and acknowledgements, commendations. Tonight, we have Edsel Ford students Hope Caledo and Blake Coram. I hope I said that correctly.
Fortson High School, commendations to several Fortson students who were elected to represent local youth at the Youth Dialogues Race and Ethnicity and Metropolitan Detroit program conducted by the University of Michigan in Ann Arbor. Special thanks to the Lebanese and Heritage Club for the kind donation of $2,000 to cover the costs that to the people who attended the event. Commendations to Fordson winter sports teams for their academic achievement and overall team grade point averages. Varsity girls basketball 3.62. Boys swimming 3.50. JV girls basketball 3.40. Freshman girls basketball 3.32. And varsity boys basketball 3.26. Freshman boys basketball 3.05. Wrestling 3.03. Now, Dearborn High School. Congratulations to Dearborn High School senior Bearuz Yakubi, who has been selected as one of the 12 finalists for being considered for the Athlete of the Year award presented by the Detroit Athletic Club Foundation. From across the state, only 6 males and 6 females were nominated for this honor. The winner will be announced in May. Bearuz plays football and throws shot and disc and track. He's planning to attend football at Purdue University this fall. Commendations to Dearborn High School senior Sahar Khan, who won the inaugural speech track competition hosted by American Association of University Women Dearborn Branch. Participating students who required to write a speech on the topic Women at the Top, Why So Few? The judge scored the participants in the areas of content, organized, and delivery. Sahar received a $150 monetary award for first place. In addition, she will receive a DVD of her speech submitted to the AAUW Michigan final competition.
McCullough Eunice School, commendations to McCullough Eunice Student Council members who raised $1,777.72 for the Leukemia and Lymphoma Society during their Pasta for Pennies campaign. Eunice Middle School, congratulations to Eunice Middle School for becoming the first STEM.org certified public school in the Midwest. STEM is an acronym that refers to an approach to teaching that concentrates on science, technology, engineering, and math. McCullough Eunice is being recognized for completing a rigorous series of STEM-focused events, programs, and professional development as part of the STEM certification process. This school-wide initiative helped to create an engaging instructional environment utilizing collaborative and experiential learning activities, including a science fair assembly. Eunice teachers will receive training from STEM.org on the science standards. STEM.org funded the assembly and training at no cost to the school or district. The assembly was featured in over 280 news agencies across the country. In addition, it was featured several times on WDIV on April 6th during the weather broadcast done by Andrew Humphrey, who provided a presentation to students as part of the science fair assembly. Nowlin Elementary School. Nowlin Elementary School held a Bingo for Books event as a literacy night activity on March 20th. Commendations to the following high school students who volunteered their time to help make the evening a success: Dunya Eid, Ayat Bazi, Ayasad, Janine Thompson, Amira Hantosh, Rachad El Ghul, Mohammed Chamsuddin, Danny Majid, Hassan Ajroush, Kelsey Sal, Colleen Feeney, Melissa Gibb, and Stephanie Cameron.
Certainly, thank you for being here, both to play.
Before they leave, we have one more commendation. Miss Kaledo here was our regional first place science fair winner, and she went on to the state competition. So how did you fare there?
I didn't place, but I did get a certificate for going.
Very
Oh,
good.
Great.
Congratulations to you.
Good job.
Thank you so much.
Trustee McDonald?
I would also like to mention that President Barry and I went to the Fordson 88 Years Later event along with members of the cabinet and Superintendent Whiston. The students just did a fantastic job. They put together that event to showcase their school and what the students are doing in so many areas, academic and also taking care of the community and different things. And it was just an excellent event, and we had a good time. So congratulations to them for putting that on.
Thank you. April's National Autism Awareness Month. I attended an event at Lowry School last Friday. One of our teachers, Sada Sharara, and the principal there, Rima Yunus, did a wonderful job. They had the students out there, had the balloons, they had a couple of the students there that spoke, and it was a wonderful event. I learned a lot of things from that event. 1% of the population of children in the U.S. ages 3 to 17 have autism, and 1.5 million Americans live with autism. I'm going to quote Ms. Sharara here, saying, other than just learning about autism, you have to show us all with your actions that you are going to take part with what you have learned and apply it into the community. Families should not hide their loved ones that have a disability, but we should be proud of them. when we see someone who has autism or something else, we should not just stare or feel pity for them, but be considerate and understanding. And she did do a wonderful job. I just wanted to recognize her. Anybody else? Next item.
Acknowledgement of donations.
3 donations. A donation of $1,500 has been offered to Cotter Preschool by the Dearborn Education Foundation to be used for the purchase of a laminator. A donation of $5,000 has been offered to the Early Childhood Development Program by the foundation in partnership with PNC Foundation, PNC Bank Foundation, to be used for curriculum materials, program development, classroom equipment, and materials. And a donation of $1,000 and $1,035 has been offered to Dearborn High School by the Dearborn Education Foundation to be used for the Business Professionals Association's National Competition Registration Fee. So certainly thank you to the foundation and to the bank for making that possible. No other.
No other. Next item.
Special reports, seal of biliteracy. Mr. Brian Whiston, Dr. Gail Shankman, Mr. Osama Beydoun.
And I think Mr. Beydoun is here representing a committee of people from throughout the district. This report comes to us as a request from member Mary Lane, who had seen this and wanted us to explore our opportunity for our district to be able to be involved in this. So we apologize. It's taken us a little while to get to the report because of me, not because of anybody else. So thank you to the committee.
Well, thank you. Thank you, President Berry, trustees, Superintendent Whiston, for the opportunity to present the proposal of the Seal of Biliteracy Committee tonight. We will share with you our vision for recognizing and celebrating biliteracy in Dearborn Public Schools. So what is the Seal of Biliteracy? Well, the Seal of Biliteracy is an award given to graduating seniors who have attained proficiency in English and at least one other language. The seal is currently awarded by school districts throughout the country and in several states. States like California, Utah, New York, Illinois. And in our research to do this, we actually contacted the original people that created this from Glendale, California, Ms. Shelley Spiegel-Coleman, who was there for support and guidance in terms of putting this together. So why implement the biliteracy in Dearborn, Seal of Biliteracy? Well, our state next door, Illinois, recently, back in April of 2013, passed Senate Bill 1221, and they made this statewide, not just in districts. And what they did was that the entire legislature voted 52-0 to pass this. So we know that's a great thing, and not only that, you have Democrats and Republicans that actually voted 50-0. When was the last time that happened? That they actually got along on an issue like this. But we're not doing it because politicians like it. We are doing it because this is a great thing for Dearborn public school students. We are proposing awarding the seal in Dearborn in order to encourage and celebrate bilingualism, as well as to certify to potential universities and employers that the skills that our students bring with them are just simply outstanding. We know that they are academically strong when they leave us. This is simply saying that this is another notch that makes them global citizens competitive in a global market. So we are proposing multiple pathways to the seal of biliteracy, by which students may achieve and demonstrate language proficiency, culminating at the high school graduation with the attainment of the seal. All of our schools and all of our students at all levels will be able to be involved in this initiative, elementary, middle, and high school. In the elementary, we recognize and celebrate the value of being bilingual, being proficient in both languages. We know, for example, at 3rd grade, parents make important decisions regarding whether their students take on a second language or not and what that means to them. So this is a very positive thing, and we make sure that we celebrate it for that reason. At the middle school, we continue to celebrate biliteracy and add achievement measures. The Middle School Bilingual Attainment Award will be given at the end of 8th grade for students who complete the 8th grade high school credit world language course offered in their middle school with a grade of B or better, or pass the level 1 test out examination, which is equivalent to 1 year of high school world languages, earn a proficient score on the 8th grade state language arts test, now the MEET, but most likely will change, as most things do in this game. Earn a proficient score on the state English proficiency test, now the WIDA. Prepare an essay written in both languages on the value of knowing more than one language and making a presentation in the language other than English. These students will be on their way to earning the seal of biliteracy by high school graduation. Attainment at the high school, Earning the seal of biliteracy demonstrates significant attainment in both languages. To earn the seal, students must, first of all, have earned a cumulative GPA of 2.5 or above in their high school English language arts classes, also scored a proficient or above on the English portion of the state exam, currently the MME taken in 11th grade, and scored proficient or above on the state English proficiency exam, also the WIDA. The criteria for proficiency in language other than English, one of the following. They pass the advanced placement exam in the language other than English, if that's available, or complete 4 years of high school world language courses with a cumulative grade point average of 3.0 or above, or pass the district level 4 test out exam, which is pretty rigorous. The additional requirements are prepare a portfolio to be presented in a language other than English, and prepare an essay written in English in the language other than English. So we get to the Seal of Biliteracy Award. Students who attain the seal will be honored at the school seniors honors convocation, where they will receive a certificate and a medallion to be worn at commencements. The seal will be placed on the students' diplomas and will be noted on their official transcript for future employers and universities to see that our students are global citizens. They're academically strong and they're able to compete in a global market. I just want to say a quick thank you to Dr. Gail Shankman, Kathleen McGroom, Rose L. Dubailey, Kristen Waddell, World Languages Chair, Dr. Wafa Shredi, Mahmoud Abarous, and Rima Hassan for working and collaborating on this. They had a lot of input in terms of different perspectives and how would this look like at Dearborn. Obviously, every single time we looked at a model in every other state, it looked a little different. We had to make sure that it worked for Dearborn Public Schools, and that's what we did in this respect. Yeah.
So this is then a proposal we're making to the board on how we would obtain this, so then we would need board input as to your thoughts or approval.
And you're going to get it.
Trustee
I
Schellis?
think this is great and very much needed, and I think that it speaks highly in a district that embraces language. I'm happy that there are conditions on there, not just for foreign language, but also for English language, because that is the most important. It's difficult to get a job speaking a second language if you can't articulate well in English. I do have a question, however. Why was it decided to go with a medallion versus a cord? A lot of our clubs and other areas use graduation cords. I'm a little leery of the medallion. We've been bit by that before, and I don't want to go back down that road again. I think that
We can make it a cord.
Well, we've had issues in the past with medallions because every group wants to make them bigger and bigger, and then next thing you know, the medallion for a club is bigger than the valedictorian, and then it becomes an issue, whereas the cords are more consistent, widely accepted, and are not confused with valedictorian medals.
And this was part of the discussion, and so with different perspectives, I mean,
I'm not saying that it's not worthy. I'm just saying that we have a lot of organizations and a lot of significant things that our students do that are worthy of a medallion. I just don't want to get into a competition with medallions again.
so why is the seal more important than the valedictorian or the Rotary Club? Yep, good point. Yeah, but it was,
Dr. Shankman?
Basically, it's what's across the country, and the Seal of Biliteracy have been medallions, and that's what we copy this after. So that's really the reason behind it.
So there's no reason we can't switch.
Yeah.
Okay.
Trustee Lane?
It could just be me. You don't have to do it to accommodate me. I'm just a little twitchy when it comes to that.
No, I think it's a good point.
Yeah.
Your microphone needs to go down.
Oh, yeah, sorry. I agree with Trustee Shellis's point. I'd like to ask a couple of questions also. Is there an AP? I love the idea, and I think it adds value to our diplomas. It adds value to our graduates for making them more employable. It gives them another level of attainment, and I think that's great. We all know that our country seriously needs people who are bilingual and bicultural or multicultural, and languages like Arabic, of course, are highly sought after for a lot of federal agencies. So the idea is
is a great one. I'm glad that we're investigating it, and I appreciate your work on it. I wonder, is there an AP exam for Arabic? No, I didn't think so. I had a discussion with Cesar Chavez Academy, and they were very excited to hear about this also. So I know that there are other districts that would follow us should we decide to go this way. But they were asking me if we pass this, how will it be received by universities, by employers? So I think that we would have to explain this to universities, what exactly it means on the diploma. And possibly, if people could receive credit, university credit for an AP exam, possibly universities would award maybe some credits for this as well, because certainly, with everything that you've laid out, it is an attainment and it's a substantial one. So I hope that the board will consider it. I think it's a terrific idea. Do you know what exam would be used at this point? This was asked to me by the folks in Southwest Detroit. What exams will be used to test? And it would be not just written language, it would be spoken as well. I noticed that. That's fantastic that the student would have to make a oral presentation. That's just really awesome.
Yeah, they'd have to put together the presentation and then give it orally as well.
Yeah.
Who do they give that presentation to? Who would they present to?
A committee or,
Oh.
the world.
It wasn't a trick question,
No,
sorry.
No, but what I'm saying is that, what we did is we gave you an overview in terms of at the high school. I know that we have the world languages department, and that's why we have a committee there, is to kind of, talk about those things. What are the rigorous standards that we're going to put in place? And part of that is in here is that, that when you prepare this, obviously at some point, those things are presented to the department head with, kind of almost like a committee that judges whether you've met the standard or not.
So we certainly can also work with colleges to see what we can do about getting some
And
credit.
and we said that there's a level 4 test out exam, through our district here.
You all set?
I'm good now.
Okay. Trustee Schoolmaster?
Yeah, I would really like to congratulate the school district on the innovation that they're doing. Every school board meeting, we have a presentation, a 2-year college, those things that we do to mentor teachers, and now this is the leadership par excellence. Yeah, and it was something that Mary brought. This is something that no other school district in Michigan has right now. This is something, at least to my knowledge, this is something that really recognizes the students, recognizes their excellence, and certainly is a marketing tool for both the student and our district. And, I congratulate the district.
Very good point.
I
Thank you.
congratulate the district for what they're doing. Yep.
Trustee Lane?
I would just like to throw out there that the district should probably, Arabic is obviously our most useful language with our student population, and other districts around us have different competencies, but we might need to work with other districts if we had a student who showed proficiency in another language and we didn't have the ability to judge that language, Albanian or Spanish or whatever. So it may be that we have to work with other districts that have language specialties as well. We pretty much know what those are across the state, but also if the board, if we as a district do adopt this, I would hope that we would let the state know. The state has established a new office, Michigan Office for New Americans, so and Michigan's been awarded the federal contract, the center for EB-5 visas. So as a state, we've been promoting this, and it would be something that we should let the State Department of Education and the governor's office know about also. So we'd be a first in this.
And one of the things that, in this discussion, in terms of doing the research, talking to so many different people, one of the world languages department had John Lenders in my building in terms of the discussion. What happens when you run into a language that we don't have a test out for,
Right.
or an AP exam? And one of the suggestions was sometimes you can go to that consulate and find out what exam do they give to their people and get it from there. So there's,
Another good
we
thought.
have multiple pathways. We've kind of like done the legwork on this to kind of answer those questions.
Good.
But, and obviously when we start this, hopefully when if you guys agree and you feel that this is something we should go in that direction, we'll continue to ask those questions and build on whatever deficiencies we find, whatever flaws we find in this.
It may be a good idea to get some of our local universities involved in the committee side of it, because if they're part of the committee that gets to determine whether or not the student passes, perhaps that would add some credence to the possibility of getting credit.
And I think HFCC was involved through one of those committee members, isn't she? Do you have a dual role? I think so. I think so.
But I know that Wayne State teaches Arabic. I don't know about U of M.
They do.
You know,
Yep,
so it might
certainly
be a
we'll work with them.
possibility to
So
kind
it
of
sounds
get
like
their
we'll bring this
buy-in.
back to the board, next board meeting for approval.
Yeah.
Excellent.
And one of the things, just to go back and say, like, one of the committee members works with a professor at Eastern, who's
Oh,
part of that
excellent.
world languages. One of our teachers teaches at college Arabic. So
Excellent.
we kind of have that, the outreach already in place, so.
Yeah,
So I
perfect.
would assume we have Arabic, Spanish, French, and German. I think we have a strength at German,
Right.
at Edsel Ford as well.
Yeah, and Dearborn High.
Do we teach?
Is
don't
it
we
at
teach
Dearborn High
Mandarin?
Yeah, we have
also?
German, and
Oh,
John
have.
Lenders
Do
is-
we have other
We have
do we have other languages also that, besides those four?
We've taught Mandarin, I don't know if we're
Mandarin.
current.
I know we did for a while.
American Sign, I know.
1
A
year.
sign,
American
oh yeah,
Sign.
sign is another one.
Sign language, yeah.
We're pretty impressive.
Yes, we are. Leading
All
the way
right, thank you to
again.
the committee.
Thank you so much.
Committee,
Thank you
and
for
thank you
coming
to
in.
Trustee Lane for bringing us to their attention.
Yeah.
Very good cause. Next item, please.
Elementary math, Mr. Brian Whiston, Dr. Jill Chokol.
We owe a report on every day math and what we're doing in elementary.
And to try to
Math?
dispel some of the Facebook rumors.
Oh, I don't, is there Facebook?
Well, not about us, but just in general, the absurd questions that get posted on Facebook
Gotcha.
to prove how silly our Common Core is.
I do want to say congratulations to all of our teachers for teaching math. We are much higher than the state level in terms of our math scores, so we want to thank our teachers for the good work they're doing in the classrooms to get us those test scores, and look forward to the committee report. Dr. Chokol.
Great. I would like to acknowledge the work not only of Veronica Jacobus and Amy Modica, the elementary co-chairs of the math committee, but certainly all of the teachers who serve and have been serving on the elementary math committee, as well as the teachers who are here tonight. So I'm going to turn this over to them. Thank you.
Good evening. Joining Amy and myself this evening are Rita Sturgalis, who is our elementary resource teacher for math. We also have first grade teacher Jamie McShane from Long Elementary, Jill Erickson, who teaches third grade at McDonald, and Lisa Poma, fifth grade classroom teacher at McCullough Eunice. All three of these ladies not only teach in their classrooms, but they also serve as math leaders in their schools and are provided additional professional development through the district. Speaking of professional development, over the past few years, the Math Committee has worked to develop and present a variety of professional development opportunities. During our district professional development days, teachers were able to select from a number of opportunities and have some input in what we were actually offering. You see some of the opportunities listed, the most popular being, for a number of years, math workshop model or framework. Many teachers have attended this professional development opportunity. We've been asked several times to offer it once again. And at this point, we're actually being asked by teachers to dig in deeper so that those who are currently implementing the model can get some additional training and some additional skills at being more effective.
Hi. At the beginning of this year, the district formed a group called Math Leaders, and these leaders are dedicated teachers who volunteered to build math knowledge and improve math instruction by taking information that they learned back to their schools and presenting during building PD days and staff meetings. We have a group of kindergarten through second grade teachers and a group of third grade through fifth grade teachers who meet once a month to learn about instructional strategies to improve math instruction. Our focus this year has been on understanding and implementing the 8 mathematical practices, along with the Common Core, math discourse, the Everyday Math online component, and using a math workshop framework that allows teachers to differentiate instruction. And here today are three of our math leaders who'd like to explain the components of the math workshop model.
All right, well, I'm going to talk about the first part of the math workshop model. That's the launch and mini lesson. So at this point, you have the kids come together on the carpet. And basically what you're doing is you're posing some sort of open-ended question or problem about the concept that you're teaching that day. So, for example, last week we were, in first grade, we were focused on adding 10 to a 2-digit number. So the question I asked my group was, how would you use the number grid to solve 64 plus 10? And so at this point, the kids are able to have this whole discussion about strategies they would use. And as they're discussing, they can agree and disagree with each other, but they have to explain why. And they can change their thinking as they're doing this whole discussion. And the nice thing for me, the teacher, is the kids are leading the discussion, and I'm acting as kind of a guide to walk them through this. And as they're discussing, I can catch any misconceptions they might have, and I'm recording their information on chart paper. Now, some of those ideas they may have may be incorrect, but we'll revisit that during the reflection, the final part, so you can see how their thinking has changed just in that one day of teaching math. So that's one of my favorite parts because you get to hear a lot of the student thinking. The next part is the guided practice in small group instruction.
Hi, I do small group instruction. Differentiated learning goes on, excuse me, in these instructions. The kids can go to different centers, stations. One might be the computer. One is working with our math tools, doing problem solving. Another station is where they go to the different math games, doing computation practice and skills. And my favorite is where the kids come to me. I'll see 6 or 7 kids in a small group. This is where I really get to assess the student, look at what needs they have, and do individualized instruction with them, which then will drive my instruction throughout the rest of the day, the week, the month, and I'll know what the kids really need to focus on. And then once they're done through this, and this takes about an hour of instruction a day, then they go to the last station or last area.
Good evening. The last part is the reflection. So we do the mini lesson, the launch. The reflection brings it all back together, where it's a space for teachers and students to reflect and communicate if the objectives were met during that lesson and any misconceptions that may have taken place during the course of the math session. And this is where the students pose additional questions that they may have. A lot of us have reflection logs, and they do a 3-2-1 strategy. It could be 3 things that they learned during the course of that math period, 2 things that they want to know more about, and 1 question that they have. We are looking at for academic vocabulary, and it kind of just gives us a sense of where our students are and their level of their vocabulary and ability during that lesson. So it just brings it back from the mini lesson to their stations and brings us all back together to reflect, both as teachers and students.
We have a short video that gives you a little bit of a picture into this, into the classroom, so you can see it in action with the kids in Dearborn schools.
A fact family. Well, before we talk about exactly what a fact family is, let's go ahead and look at our domino up here. What do we notice about our domino? Good, I like all the raised hands. Sterling, what's one thing that you notice?
It has 2 sides, and it has dots on it.
Okay, so how many dots do we have on the top part of our domino?
3 on the top.
Okay.
And 6 on the bottom.
We have 6. And then Miley, how many dots are on our domino altogether?
9.
9. So those are the 3 numbers that go with this domino. Okay, so we look at the 1 half, the 2nd half, and then how many are on there all together? 3 plus 6
equals 9.
Equals 9. Does anyone agree or disagree with Xavier, and why? Quentin.
I agree with him because I agree with you because 6 and then I have the bigger number in my head, and then I count up, and then I get 9 when I count up in my head.
By 3. Okay, good.
Good, we did this,
Or
and what's this?
It's when they cannot touch.
Are they ever gonna touch?
No.
Okay, so like the football, when we talked about the football going through, do these touch?
No. Yeah.
Can you show me where they touch? Okay, so are they parallel or intersecting? Intersecting.
I got the answer.
Okay. What's the answer?
57 remainder 2.
Same?
Yes.
What's the problem for you? You can stand up. Okay. How we doing, Nora?
Oh my God.
Good?
I do. I'm probably in like you did it. There. Okay, we got the other one. Change yours.
Some of it I cut off.
18.
We are going to
Right there. 1 more is 27. 2. And now you know how to do it 3 times. 6. Simplify it again by 3, and then you can 10. Yeah. 5. So it goes 5 times 6 equals 30.
Okay, let's divide. Yes. Yes.
240 and 1. Let's check right. 1 on.
All right, and I want you to turn clockwise. Keep going all the way back to 12 o'clock. Great job. All right. And a bus. I want you to go up and do counterclockwise. Start at 12 and end at 12.
Wrong way.
No?
No.
No?
She was going this way. No, it isn't.
Stop. Let's look at that. Zainab, come back up.
It's going to be like the earth and the sun.
Oh, I shocked you. I'm sorry. 12 o'clock. Face 12 o'clock. Be confident in yourself. I want you guys both to turn at the same time. You're going to go clockwise. You're going to go counterclockwise. Go. Did they do the same thing?
No.
So they were both right. They did the opposite. Great job. Go sit down.
I think that was my favorite. Be confident in yourself. Absolutely.
That just gives you a little look at little snippets of what it would look like in first, third, and fifth. We have we at the beginning of, well, not at the beginning, like in the middle of the year, we had a survey of our elementary teachers, and the graph that's on the screen shows that 90% of our classroom teachers are currently using Math Model Workshop in their classrooms, at least 1 to 2 days a week. This is an increase of 49% from last year. The next chart, it's coming. Okay. Here we go. The next chart shows Dearborn is continuing to score above the ISD and state in all grades for the past 3 years in the MEP. So we are seeing that we are still beating the scores, and the math instruction is continuing to progress through the years. Are there any questions?
Trustee Lane?
Just an observation, and I'm kind of bemused by this. When you're reading about American education, there's always a lot of woe is me about how education hasn't changed in 100 years. But when I see this, it's so different than when any of us were in the classroom. it just reinforces, I mean, the getting up, the movement, the working in small groups. It really is a huge change, and I think the results bear out what you're doing. The test scores are good and improving, and it's not something that gets a lot of news. It's usually the opposite that gets news. Oh, we're failing, we're not doing well. But this is really, I can see how it engages. It engages kids, obviously, physically, mentally, socially. And I think there's so many other benefits that come out of it. There's not as many behavioral problems when kids are not bound to a desk. So, yeah, it really looks good. It looks engaging, and I think it does show the type of innovation that public schools are delivering in our state, in our district. So, I love it.
Thank you.
I don't think I got to Domino's till 10th grade.
But you caught up quickly.
Yeah. I have a question.
Yes, sir.
I was curious, the yellow and blue blocks that they were using, plastic, what's that?
Yeah, those are called base 10 blocks, and they were learning division. The big block was 100, then we had...
Oh, and in pieces of that?
In pieces,
Oh,
right,
okay.
and they were
That's
doing that to
interesting.
learn how to divide.
So
reinforce
the
division.
visual connection is strong there.
Right.
Because I remember we used a lot of times tables and flashcards and things like that.
Group memorization. Right.
Yeah, just,
What
yeah.
we want
brute-
kids to
yeah,
do is have to justify be confident in their answers, but they have to justify their answers.
We just took it for granted that was the answer because that's what
You
they
did the
told us.
question.
So,
And we
yeah,
want them to
that's-
transfer this
Critical
knowledge,
thinking
so.
skills.
Well, great job by everybody.
Anybody else?
Thank you for your leadership, Veronica.
Yeah, very
Thank you.
Thank you, Veronica. Thank you, everybody.
Next report.
Next item, 8th, 9th grade program. Mr. Brian Whiston, Dr. Gail Shinkman.
So we do have a group that is coming forward. I think you have a folder in front of you or some material in yellow and orange about a new program for dealing with 8th, 9th. And we'll have Julie come forward with her group and share it with us.
Okay, good evening, and I appreciate you allowing me to come before you tonight to present this proposal that I'd like you to consider for a new school. This school provides students with an opportunity to receive the support they need and deserve so they will be successful on-time graduates. These students might otherwise be retained in the 8th grade. Okay, I'm gonna use. Our mission is to provide all the support a student would need to graduate on time. To do this, we need to address the gaps in both the affective and academic domains.
She's using the new PowerPoint. I got to get used to it. It's not called PowerPoint.
It makes you a little dizzy.
It does, the way things come out.
These support include mandatory parental involvement. Parents will be expected and commit to attendance at meetings, workshops, and activities. These will all be designed to be positive experiences. Workshops will teach skills parents need to support their children. Meetings will inform parents and help them support their children's educational goals and progress in school. Attendance at activities will show their children they are valued and supported. Part of the success of the Magnet High School, which I'm involved with right now, is a small class size. This allows teachers to provide a more personalized and responsive learning environment. We are planning the same kind of environment for this school as well. The proposed teaching staff will be selected based on their professional qualifications, their passion for and proven ability to establish positive and supportive relationships with at-risk students. This passion and ability will support the school's mission for students to grow in the affective domain, socially and emotionally, and to realize academic success. Another lesson learned from the Magnet High School is the affective component. Affect refers to the outward expression of feeling or emotion. Wrapping at-risk kids in a cocoon-like environment of care, respect, love, and support will be an integral part of student success. Student support will be provided by a social worker or school psychologist. a strategy specialist, and a counselor with the same criteria and qualifications as we described for teachers. In conjunction with those teachers, this added support will be the means to accomplishing the goal of holistic support. All students will be provided with a mentor. The University of Michigan Dearborn has a leadership program that provides this kind of support. There will also be an adult teacher assigned to each student. We draw upon more of the Magnet High School's successful components: community service. Students at Magnet volunteer weekly at All Saints Church. This has had a great impact on their worldview of others and builds a sense of empathy. If this school comes to fruition, ACE students would also regularly be involved in service to the community. Maybe that doesn't. Research-based and data-supported, a blending learning environment has proved to be motivational and successful. Coupling quality direct instruction with quality online learning experiences and shoulder-to-shoulder support is known to lead to student success. Setting goals and knowing what it is that is needed to be done and what support will be provided will guide both student and families. I'd like to refer you now to, I think you have an orange handout, which is stapled on the wrong side. So if the staple's on your right, and then you can kind of flip, that back of the educational development plan is what you're looking at here. And I think I can zoom. And really, this is just a plan of action that at one of our parent meetings, individual parent meeting with the counselor, myself, and the student, we kind of put together the things the students will be doing, their testing scores, so we can keep track of them. And the back of the next page is what the high school it's a data plan, really. Okay. So the next, that page, again, if you just flip to the front and go to page 3, that'll match what you're going to see on the screen. If you see at the top where it says student name, it says Math Help 2-year on-time peer graduation. Are we all there? So while they're at this proposed school, this is what their schedule would look like, and this is a student who struggles in math. So when you look at the math, you see the language arts, those high school language arts courses. The next one is math. They have their algebra and their geometry, but then they get an extra hour of support in all of those semesters over the 2 years. And what you have in that whole orange packet is the first 2 pages are a student who struggles in language arts, what that looks like. The next 2, the 3rd and 4th page, who struggle in math, and what if they have struggles in both. There's a plan, and they're just samples. Every student's going to be different, but we plan on having them leave us with 12 high school credits. They would either enter their home high school or another one of our mini programs that we have for kids as a junior.
As a junior?
As a junior. 12 credits, 6 credits is the freshman, 6 more completes a sophomore, so they'll have 12 credits.
Sorry, when I read it, it said 8th, 9th, and so when you said junior, I was like, wait a minute. I thought it was 8th and 9th, but now I...
And you'll notice in the struggling math student, even their high school plan, what we've done is we're allowed to teach Algebra 2 over the course of 2 years instead of just the 2 semesters. So that student will continue to get some support in high school as well. And that was the high school, sorry. So there were many people that provided input and expertise while we were researching this school and putting this proposal together. We had an administration team, and we tried to be diverse, and so we called on people from different areas. And right now I'd like to invite Rima Yunus, principal of Laurie School, to provide an administrative perspective on the need for this school.
Good evening.
Good evening.
We worked really hard on this, and Julie's really committed a lot of her time and energy to making this successful and really thinking it through. As a middle school administrator, I have to say that we're very excited about this because it really gives students the opportunity. It's a safety net, and we know retention doesn't work for these students because of their self-esteem, and it's a critical age, middle schoolers. So this is a prime opportunity for them to transition into something that's more individualized and allowing them an opportunity to succeed and really reach that success. And with the teachers that we're thinking about placing in this program, basically coaching them through this process and really giving them the self-esteem and the confidence to get through this. And it's something that we really feel we're in need. We're really in need. Kids really need this. So we're really excited about it as middle school principals, and we really want to see it through and give Julie all the support that we can in making this successful. So really excited about this individualized instruction. Our kids really need it. Thank you.
We also gathered some teachers round and asked for their expertise and input. And I would like to invite Tara Haddad. She's a science teacher and link crew leader over at Etzelford High School to give us a teacher's perspective on the need for this.
Good evening. I support this wholly because I see all the students that come to the high school, for one reason or another, they're just not successful in the traditional setting. So the points of this program that I thought were attractive as a ninth grade teacher is that smaller atmospheres to really focus on these students. Community service is huge. I think teenagers need empathy skills, and we offer that at the high school, but not at the same level that Julie would be able to offer it to her students. I like that there's adult mentors. I think adult mentors are very important. More time to cover the curriculum. I think some of these students could get it if they had a little bit more time and assistance. And I like the fact that parents are required to be involved. I think that's a huge part of this program, a huge draw. I think that a lot of these students in this program will have the opportunity to reinvent themselves. They might feel like they can't be successful, but in this atmosphere they can. And then they can enter high school as a junior and have the success that has eluded them before and give them the confidence to go forth and graduate on time and be a successful member of the greater society.
Thank you, Tara.
Thank you.
And we gathered our parents together. Actually, I didn't. I have to say thank you very much to Mrs. Berry, who organized a parent group that came on an unscheduled meeting. We had about 29 parents come. It was a really great meeting, and I'd also like to thank the district PTA board, who was also involved in helping that meeting come to fruition. And so I'd like Mrs. Berry to, from a parent point of view, how she feels about the need for this program.
Good evening. Parents play a critical role in the support of their children's implementation process into the new school. The parents came, we brought them together, and we wanted them to know how important it is for them to be aware of the new school and how their children would be affected by it. ACE is important. We want them to encourage the students. We want them to take personal responsibility for the future of their students and help support them in the development and academic success needed to become productive citizens. And as Julie had stated, while we also want them to care and nurture in the process as well, part of the effective solution in all this. We also told them about the small groups, individualized education, the parents' involvement, the mentoring programs, and the mandatory parental involvement as well in the program. They stayed for a while. They asked questions. It was really good. Very informative.
Just rounding up 29 at the last minute, that's
pretty
pretty impressive.
yeah.
That's, yeah. Keep missing my mark there. So, what is the key to success? Thank you very much. If you have any questions,
Thank you.
I'm happy to
Trustee
answer.
Schillis?
Is this a self-selection, or is this a push from the middle schools?
Well, it's going to be, the process, I have it, but we're looking at a student who might be retained in middle school. And like one of my colleagues said, in 14 years as a middle school principal, I think I saw one success story. You know, that they became successful before they left me the second time in 8th grade. And so we're looking at students that fit that criteria, that the board has a policy about passing classes. I think they have to be passing more than half their courses. So the criteria is kind of set by the profile of that student. The counselor and the principal would make the recommendation to me. I would come over and meet with the parent, the student, the counselor, and the homeschool principal, and talk to the parent about this opportunity. And I believe it is an opportunity. I think this is an opportunity for them to get extra support, super small environment, work on the social skills they need, and still earn the high school credit. So we're really framing this as an awesome opportunity Dearborn's offering them, if you all approve, to hopefully that meeting be more positive.
And certainly if a parent felt that their child should be in the program,
I guess
they
what I'm
certainly
wondering is, are we waiting until they fail 8th grade, or are we going to be proactive in the students that are in 7th grade that are struggling, and they would start 8th grade there? Or
No.
it wouldn't be until they were repeating
Right.
8th grade?
The middle schools have a lot of interventions in place. There's all kinds of things that the middle schools do right now, and they do very well. But not every kid is successful even with that help.
Well, and the buildings are large.
Yeah.
I mean, our middle schools
Right.
are getting quite large, and it's
Yeah.
very daunting, and not every child can succeed.
And then
in-
we're going
in
to
that.
throw them in an even larger
Right.
environment. And so we're kind of the bridge. We're after 8th grade, so
Okay.
they give it, when we're calling it 8th, 9th, so that 8th grade year, they're not a high school student yet, they have an opportunity to earn high school credits so they don't enter the doors, and they can
behind.
still graduate with the peers
Okay.
that they left 8th grade. And that's, I think, is going to be real important to the kids and the parents.
But they would complete 8th grade in the middle school first, prior
Yes.
to, okay.
Yeah.
I think it's an excellent idea. I think it's very much needed. I'm just kind of unsure yet about how the transition back to the large, standard,
Right.
traditional high school in 11th grade.
And
I'm
if they
thinking
find
that,
that the student shouldn't transfer back in,
Right.
and then they could go to the magnet program.
That's possible. That's
That's
also
one option.
possible. There are
or
other
to extend
options.
this. Yeah, that's, I mean, I know that we'll have a couple of years to work that out, but I think that it's something that we should consider.
Well, there's,
What are alternative
there's
options?
three main
for-
things that we really have to be successful at. One of them is providing opportunities for them to connect with the high school and that environment, the mentorship, and then that affective piece. You know, the teachers are going to be great, and the content is going to be there. That kind of affective piece, and then getting them transitioned appropriately, not just at the last minute after the second year is
Right.
over, but
Or maybe even a
throughout.
transition where they do half the day at the high school and half the day in the more homey environment, so to speak.
Yeah.
I mean, something to think about.
You know,
just
it's
to go from such a
Yep.
small and nurturing environment to being, I mean, it's kind of like being thrown to the wolves, and to have all this support and then to not have
Right.
that support anymore.
And you know, at the Magnet, you see that because they're at the Michael Berry Career Center, but some of them are dually enrolled, so they're off into the college for part of their day, and every student is different, and that's why we like these individualized plans, because there may be a student who that works perfectly for in their second year, they go to the high school for some of their classes. Anything's possible.
Yeah.
We just want to look at what's right for that student.
Oh, wonderful.
You had a
Good job.
question?
Trustee
Yeah,
Lane?
I was going to,
Oh.
I'm
I'm sorry, President Berry, I shouldn't
President
call
Berry
on
Shut down, Jim, you've been shut down.
President Berry makes the call.
Trustee Lane, go ahead, please. Sorry, Jim.
I'm trying to relate, I'm assuming that some of these students will be students with parent contracts.
Could be.
Could be.
I would hope they would be if they're struggling. We would want
Yeah, I
to.
would assume that this would be
Right.
a significant percentage of them. And then I'm just thinking back of some of the students that we've recently seen, and I can see a group that would be perfect for here. How many are you envisioning in this program?
Around 30-ish, the first year.
And do I understand correct that there will be additional time on task, either an extended day or summer, or how do they make up the time?
Make up what time?
Well, academically, they're behind.
Correct.
time. So how do they catch up time?
That's why I provided the examples of, if they're academically behind in math, we're going to provide them an extra hour every day, every semester they're with us in that particular area, either math or language arts, and I even have a plan for both. So they're actually getting a double dose of their area of deficit, if you will.
Plus it's smaller.
Plus the environment will be about 15 kids to one teacher.
Yeah, I'm trying to think in my own mind, how do you catch up?
Because they would be held back. They would be repeating 8th grade.
Yeah, no, I understand that, but in order to graduate on time, they've got to jump up a little to jump over what they haven't gotten. And without, if you're going to take 2 years on geometry or algebra 2 or any other core subject, how does that get made up?
Well, the 2 years is for Algebra 2. That's done in high school.
Right.
Okay, so they'll have 2 years to do it, a
Which
kid
would
who
normally
doesn't
be a
have...
1 year?
Which would normally be a 1 year. So
Right.
that's the help they're going to
Right.
get there. The help they're getting with me is 2 hours of that subject area as opposed to 1.
So how do they get 6 hours then? 6 credit hours is what I guess I'm
Okay,
struggling
so
to
for
figure
example,
out. And
student
Dr.
who needs
Shankman
help in
looks like
math.
she's got an answer also.
Okay.
Okay.
So a student who needs help in math, they get Lang 1, Algebra 1, Semester 1, Math Intervention, this is struggling math, Biology, PE, and then that advisory period is actually a class where we're doing community service, the leadership, the mentorship, and they'll get credit for that. So that's 1, 2, 3 credits in one semester. And then they would do the same in the second semester, and that's 6.
More interventions, and they'll need to go into the high school and take, what are we short of, science?
Yeah, I was going to say, there's got to be something that's not in there, and that's what I'm trying to
Well, if you
figure out.
flip to the science page, actually, the high school page for that same student, they actually will graduate with 24 credits because of all the intervention they're getting in the 2 years with me.
We're front-ending the interventions.
I think the confusion, though, is we kind of made a statement that if a kid comes into this program, they're going to graduate in 4 years on time, but it's really not. They're taking an extra year.
No, they're not taking an extra year.
So if I am in 8th grade, and now I'm doing 8th grade over again.
No, you're not taking 8th grade over again. You're still considered a middle school 8th grade student, but you are taking high school classes.
Classes.
Okay.
So they're not going to be, I think what you're saying is I'm behind, I'm failing.
Right.
I'm failing my courses.
Right, so if you
How am I going to get my skills caught
haven't
up?
gotten 8th grade math, how do you get up to
That
algebra?
intensive intervention is and the right teacher is what we're counting on. And the very small class size. They're going to get a lot of individualized instruction.
I guess it's important for me to say that I put something huge on Julie and the committee. It went like this. Okay, so bring me a schedule of how this happens. And then she brought back a schedule, and I said, but they don't have enough credits. What is the hook? When we have a student and a parent who see their student is struggling, what's going to want them to come here? Is it, if they're going to put another year in and they're not going to graduate on time, is this something they're going to buy into? Probably not so much. But if we put all we can with required parental involvement and all these interventions that she and her committee put together in place, and we have all of that affective stuff and mentoring the students here, we're really putting a lot of supports in place for the students. And they will graduate on time if they're successful in the program. That really has to be there for a parent and for a student to want to do this. And every time I sent her back, she put it together with the committee and came back and came up with this plan. So a student who's successful in this program will graduate on time.
With their peer groups,
With
that's
their
what we
peer
mean by
group.
that. But we really believe this small individualized environment is the key. These kids are not failing because they can't learn. They're not failing because they don't have the ability to gain the skills. They're failing for probably many other reasons that we're going to try and pinpoint with these individualized plans, whether it's something going on at home, whether it's social or emotional, the environment. That's why those supports are really, really important, so we can get to the bottom of what the issue is and address it, because it's not always academic. It shows itself in the academics, but we're going to try and figure out, the whole picture.
Trustee Schoolmaster, please.
Yeah, is the program to some extent dependent on the mentorship of the University of Michigan Dearborn student? Is that what I understood?
It's not dependent on that. I'm trying to make a connection with them because I have had experience with some of the stuff they do through leadership. My middle school students went to their Gula Gula event, which was a lot of fun, and those college kids kind of taught and mentored those kids all day. They have that ropes course for team building and trusting, and so I'm trying to make connections if you know of anybody.
No, I just wanted to make sure that it was not dependent
No.
on a commitment for somebody that we have no really commitment.
No, it's dependent upon that idea being a strong component of the program.
Okay.
So
Yeah.
the mentors could come from other places?
Yes,
Mhm.
yes. Mhm.
So we will be looking
Like
for
board
mentors.
members, trustee
Yeah,
Schoolmaster?
no, that's correct. We will be looking for mentors.
Absolutely.
And probably a one-on-one situation as far as mentorship is
There would be
concerned,
someone at the school, and then we want someone outside.
outside of the school.
Mhm.
And we will be looking to the University of Michigan Dearborn, for example, or
Yep.
maybe even
And maybe
Ford
other places,
Community College, or
maybe Hype, maybe the community college, you know,
Mm-hmm, okay.
yeah.
Now, you mentioned we're going to be starting out with 30 students. Now, if we're successful, is there room to grow the school?
Well, then those
We-
kids will be successful with their 6 credits, move into become real ninth graders.
Sure.
And the next group will come in.
Who would be able to
Mhm.
serve, like the next group, could it be probably larger than 30?
I think that'd be up to,
Well,
Okay.
I think he
We'll
means
need to say
physically.
that. Yeah.
oh,
We have
is
this-
there room at the facility?
Yes.
There will be.
We'll have to reshape things, but yes, we'll make room.
Superintendent Wiston's working on that.
Yes.
Sure. This deals with what we used to discuss a few years ago with that bubble in the ninth grade.
Mhm.
And who am I? The easy thing for me to say was, why don't we just retain those students in the eighth grade? And I heard from the experts that's not the right thing to do.
Doesn't work.
So I want to thank Dr. Shankman and under the leadership of Superintendent Wiston for taking the initiative and going direction. This will take us to the next level. This will help us go to the next level.
That's what we're
These are
banking on.
students that we see, and I know Trustee Lane was referring to, we usually see as possibly juniors or sophomores, or maybe seniors still with, not enough credits to get out of ninth grade.
Right.
Those become our behavioral issue students, and you're right. They have what it takes, academically, but they just needed the support
And we want
that
to
this
get them
school
earlier.
will support.
Before they're
Yes.
juniors and seniors.
What
You
are
know,
they
we-
gonna learn?
This intervention
What's
is
that?
happening hopefully in time for that not to happen. And
Yes.
Yeah, the other conversation that I know a lot of us have been involved in, and I look at Trustee Guido, I mean, we can't pass on kids that haven't succeeded to date. I mean, we can't send them into high school when they haven't accomplished what they need to get through successfully, so.
We need to innovate, and what a way to innovate. Maybe it's not going to work, but we need to continually try things until we get things that work.
Yes.
Absolutely.
You see what other school districts, what options they're taking, and it's not working.
No,
Yeah,
they aren't
Trustee
taking any
Guido?
options. They're continuing on to do the things that they did before.
sure.
I think what's also important too is that we get them early enough in their life where they don't consider themselves a failure.
Yeah.
Once you get to 11th and 12th grades, you probably have pretty much given up on yourself. And I think this is probably early enough to where we can, give them the incentive that they need and show them that they can be successful at a young enough age to carry them through, high school and beyond. So I think that's the right time to do it.
Well, I have to say, the magnet kids, without the magnet program, speak to any one of them. I spoke to one yesterday. I had a visitor in my office. He came down to talk to me. He sat down. That visitor wanted to know, how do you like the magnet? What's so great about the magnet? And he just looked at her. He said, I wouldn't be here. I wouldn't be in school if it weren't for the magnet. And I think this is an earlier intervention similar to that, because every one of those kids will tell you the same thing, that the magnet program has saved them. And it's really, touching when you talk to them about how much that means to them. So we're kind of modeling this at a younger age after that success.
Trustee McDonald?
I just want to say, one statement that was made earlier, and I think it is vital, is the chance to give a child an opportunity to reinvent themselves. Because a lot of times they kind of begin to become what their environment has put on them. If they're known as a troublemaker, if they're known, it gets them out of that environment, and they do get the chance to, I can be something different now, and I have the support to do that. I think that's huge. So, kind of piggybacking on what Joe had just said, I think that's it's outstanding, and especially at this young
If you wait too
age.
long, it makes the job near impossible.
Right, absolutely.
So, good luck with that.
Thank you.
That's
Thank you,
huge.
and thank you to your team.
Thanks to the
Well,
committee.
We'll be looking forward to seeing you in 2015 around the same time.
Yeah, reporting.
Yeah.
Data. Thank you again.
Oh, by the way, that yellow brochure is just made up. So, I mean, just so you saw something that it might look like, because the dates, I don't know anything about the dates. So it's just a visual.
Okay.
So it's not completely fictitious, just,
Something it could look like.
Yes.
excellent, thank you.
Thank you. Next item, please.
Action item, special consideration of an action item. Are there any agenda items on this agenda which the board members or the superintendent wish to discuss and vote on separately? We have number 12 that requires a roll call, and we have a supplement, number 14, that we need to pull out.
And there was another one that required.
Number 2?
Number 2, yes.
Number 2?
Yes, sorry, my apologies.
No problem.
I knew that, too.
Okay.
Anything else?
Anything else somebody wants pulled? No? Moving on.
Recommended action, move that action items numbered 1 through 14 be approved as recommended in this agenda with the exception of 2, 12, and 14.
So moved.
Support?
We have a motion and support. Any questions? There are no objections, and the motion. Trustee Guido?
I just wanted to make a quick comment.
Yes, sir.
Just congratulations on some of the bond programs. I mean, that we hit the ground running. There's a lot here. that we've
And
already
under budget.
accomplished. Yeah, and that was my second. Seems like we're under budget, so that's very encouraging to see so much happen so quickly on the bonds.
Thank you for the comment. Trustee Lane?
Since Trustee Vito brought it up here, I thought to bring it up later. I had an Edsel student contact me. They've contacted, I think, probably everyone about the graduation not being at U of M Dearborn. Of course, they're very unhappy about that because they love their home school. So and I don't know if Mr. Burrick is here.
Yeah, he's here.
So I think the reason for the change is the commencement of the.
Yeah, but
not the-
should we have a motion on the floor.
Yeah, I know, I'm just, since he
We'll get
brought
back
up the field, the contracts.
Right, I understand that,
So-
but this is more of a discussion item.
Yeah, I didn't know when it was appropriate. Maybe we should have waited after we voted. I just
No, that's
wanted-
fine,
I
that's
did- I just
fine.
had a comment, not a.
That's fine.
not
Is there any
really a-
objections to the motion? And the motion will be adopted. You can go back to, you want to go ahead and read the summary, please?
I didn't mean that we shouldn't discuss
No,
it, but I just thought.
there was a
that-
motion on the table, and
Come back.
we will come back under discussion, yes.
Number 1, approval of warrants, which are items for payment by the district and have been reviewed by the administration. Number 3, approval of contract for the new Edsel Ford concession toilet and team room facility. Number 4, approval of extension of contract for miscellaneous glazing repairs. Number 5, approval of extension of contract for miscellaneous roofing repairs. Number 6, approval of general construction at Dearborn Heights Center, Howard, Maples, Laurie, Salina, Stout, Becker, Duval, Long, Nowlin, Oakman, Salina Elementary, Snow, McCullough, Eunice, Fordson, Cotter, Lindbergh, and Miller schools. Number 7 through 10, approval of non-instructional and instructional personnel items for P12. Number 11, approval of monthly financial statements. Number 13, approval of donations.
Okay, before we move back, number 2, let's go ahead and continue the discussion,
Just
please.
simply that needs to be explained to the class of 2014.
Right, so the principal is calling the students. He had met with them once before. David Mustonen had drafted a letter to explain, why we were doing it. And I'm not sure if that letter was shared with the board, but we can get that. But the principal is going to meet with the students involved in the petition to have a conversation with them, to let them understand. They're thinking we can postpone construction one day
Right.
by doing this, and it's
Right.
not postponing construction one day, it's postponing it a year, because we actually would start construction with the awarding of this bid, and actual construction would start very shortly. So it's not that we would be postponing construction one day, we'd be postponing it a year. which if the board wishes to do that, we could do that, although we probably already signed a contract
I
with U
think
of
we
M.
already
Yeah.
had that discussion, too.
We've already signed a contract with U of M
I
to
think
do the
if you look at
graduation.
the work scope too, that you just couldn't
Right.
do both.
Right.
There's just too much work involved at that end of the field.
And I do understand the students' concern with that, although it has been done in the past. There's still the all-night party at the school the night of graduation, so they still have to get to party at the school. It's just the graduation ceremony being moved, and I can understand students being concerned about that. I mean, but there are legitimate reasons for it, and the district has had to do this, I know at Fortson, and I think at Etzel in the past, in previous graduations, to move it to deal with construction issues. So we will be meeting with the students over the next couple of days. I think he said not tomorrow, but the next day, he's scheduled a meeting with the students.
And this was a decision made by the board in cooperation with the leadership from Etzel Ford. This is a plan that they've been waiting for a
this
few
was
years, so it's not something we
a long
decided to
time
pick up and
coming,
go.
yeah.
So, yeah, thank you. Let's go back to item number 2,
Number
please.
2, approval of resolution authorizing the issuance of 2014 state aid notes. Do you need me to read the background?
No, just recommend a
Move
motion.
that the board approve the resolution authorizing issuance of 2014 state aid notes as per board report 13-126.
So moved.
Support.
We have a motion support, roll call vote, please.
Trustee Guido?
Yes.
Trustee Lane? Yes. Trustee McDonald?
Yes.
Trustee Shellis, yes. Trustee Schoolmaster?
Yes.
President Barry?
Yes. Moving on to item number 12, please.
12. Calling for a special meeting closed. Recommended action, move that a special meeting closed be held on Monday, April 28th, 2014 at 6 p.m. in the Superintendent's Conference Room at the Administrative Service Center. The purpose of the meeting is to hear or take action on a request from the Superintendent of Schools for student expulsion per Section 8B of the Michigan Open Meetings Act.
So moved.
Support.
Motion support, roll call vote, please.
Trustee Guido?
Yes.
Trustee Lane? Yes. Trustee McDonald?
Yes.
Trustee Shellis, yes. Trustee Schoolmaster?
Yes.
Trustee Barry?
Yes. Next item, please.
Number 14, approval of award of contract and recommended action. Move that the board award the contract to BLX Group LLC in the amount of 5 basis points or approximately $38,810 as the district's investment advisory firm.
So moved.
Support.
Motion support, roll call vote, please.
Trustee Guido?
Yes.
Trustee Lane?
Yes.
Trustee McDonald?
Yes.
Trustee Shellis, yes. Trustee Schoolmaster?
Yes.
Trustee Barry?
Yes.
Can I speak briefly?
Yes, please.
We did have, and I'm sure that Roxanne will cover this, but just to let the board know with regard to this, we did, Sam did put out bids for the investment portion of the bond proceeds, and while BLX Group came in as the lowest bidder, they also seem to be the best suited for the job for many reasons, most of which is the way that they manage it, that this is what they do versus just a service that they offer. It is based on, a percentage, the point of 5 basis points is like 0.05% of a percent. But their services, they will actively manage the selling of the bonds and the bond proceeds, so it's a little bit more involved than some of the other firms, even though the other firms had a higher price. So I'm happy that we've chose to go with this firm, and hopefully they will do well for us.
Thank you. Discussion item?
Discussion items, Regional Enhancement Millage Board Report 13-133.
We're striking that from the agenda.
Moving that, acknowledgement of correspondence. I believe we already discussed one that we all received.
Yeah.
Yes.
Lane brought
Yeah.
up the.
I do have a few envelopes here. It's that time
Yes,
of the
I do
year. I
too.
haven't opened up any, so if there are some that I need to share with Dawn, and she can share with the board. Okay. Next item.
Board of Education Business, Board Member Committee and Organization Reports.
Trustee
Yes.
McDonald?
If we could have Sam Barna come up.
Yeah, I'm going to have Sam come up and elaborate on what Trustee Schellis just.
Did I misspeak at all?
Absolutely not. You did a fantastic job. Good evening once again. I just wanted to reiterate what we spoke about at the Finance Committee meeting earlier this evening, and it was indeed the first agenda item, the line of credit, specifically first the state aid note, which is going to be in the amount of $3.5 million for a very short period of time, actually 90 days, 3 months. And so that $3.5 million is necessary primarily because we have a couple of upcoming cash items necessary, such as 3 payrolls in the month of May, and specifically at the end of this month, we have a general fund debt service payment in the amount of $2.2 million, which we don't normally have on a yearly basis, but due to the fact that this was part of the debt schedule, we have to service this specific debt with our general fund proceeds. So these items are contributing to the fact that we need a little bit more cash this early in the year, or I should say specifically this late in the year since it's almost June. The second item was, again, as you did a glorious job of depicting what really the RFP for our bond investment proceeds really was between 4 firms, and the top 2 really came to the top. And obviously BLX had the lowest fees at 5 basis points, which translates into approximately $38,000 for over the 3 years of advisory fees. And the second was SBA Investment Advisors, who is affiliated with our district's financial analysis firm, Stoddard Barch. They had the second lowest fees at 6.5 basis points. And again, the difference is, as Amy had pointed out, is really in the not just the fees and the cost structure, but it really in the investment philosophy and of the bond proceeds. So that really is the 2 discussions that we had.
Well, we did have one other discussion. I don't know if you'll recall, but last year we chose to get a line of credit instead of getting a state aid note.
Yes.
And we used our proceeds, our state aid funding anticipation notes as basically collateral for the line of credit, and we haven't had to draw on that, so. That's correct. Pat yourselves on the back. That was a good financial choice to not get a flat loan, but versus a line of credit. And we're going to be going back out to bid for that again, because the line of credits are typically short term, or shorter term, as in a year.
Yeah.
They usually don't go out farther than a year. So we'll be going back out for that, just to have that in our back pocket in case cash flow issues come up.
Absolutely.
Or short-term cash flow issues come up.
And just to clarify, the difference between a state aid note and a line of credit really is really one fundamental difference, and that is that when you get a state aid note, you get all the funds up front. So once
you pay interest on those
and you
funds
pay interest
the entire time.
immediately.
Do it the last time, if I remember.
Right.
Yes.
Yeah,
That
because
was
we
one
didn't
of the
need it.
reasons.
Yeah.
Right. Line of credit, you pay as you go. And when you draw, you pay on that amount that you draw. So again, it can be very economical for a line of credit versus a state aid note. It just depends on your cash flow needs.
Mr. Guido?
I have a question because I don't totally understand, but the fee that BLX group is charging,
Yes.
the 5 basis points, that's a fixed fee based on how the bond proceeds would be
That's correct. It's
dispersed?
according to your draw schedule. So actually, all of the firms that bid, they look at your draw schedule that you give initially in the RFP, and they base it upon the funds being managed throughout those years.
So it's not based on the return on whatever they invest the
No.
excess funds in?
Absolutely not.
It's
It's
a
based
fixed,
upon
it's a
this.
fixed number?
That's
Okay.
correct.
So if they do good for us, then that's even
We benefit.
better.
We benefit
Yes.
if they do well. Absolutely.
Okay, great, thank you.
Thank you.
If
That was
I
the-
could, real quick, have Jeff come up. On the bond, as we said, most of the committee didn't meet. I think you're meeting next time. But most of the projects did come in under budget. There's one that came in over budget, and that's the Lindbergh windows. So we are not doing that project this year as originally intended. We'll go out for bid and do that again next year. So I just want you to cover that and anything else real quick.
No, we did get some very favorable bids that did come in for this first phase. And like Superintendent Whiston said, the windows at Lindbergh, we weren't satisfied with that price, so we thought we'd go back out to something comparable and do it again next year, So we were watching these figures come in.
Trustee Schellis?
If we are over on one, or under on one project and over on another, can the difference be moved?
Yeah, we got to be very careful, but yes, if it's a like project, then we're okay. But let's say we're over, let's say we have an extra $1 million to spend, we can't just go spend it on anything we want. It has
Right.
to be on a like project within the.
Well, no,
budget.
but I mean, if we already went to say we were gonna be using this money for X, but it's gonna cost more for X, just because, you know, the price of glass goes up, and we're under on another project, can we
That's fine.
divert those funds to that
Yes.
project, so?
Yes.
Yeah, we could have, but that was such a.
Well, no,
yeah.
I would
Yes, the
assume that
answer's
we would
yes.
wait until
Yes.
the other projects
Right.
came in under, and we knew
Yeah.
for sure that they were under before we would spend that money, but I just meant if, you know, 2 years goes
Yes.
by and the price doesn't go down, are we able to use money that we've saved?
Yes.
To complete that? Okay,
Would that
Mr.
other
McDowell?
project have to be at that building?
no.
No.
No,
No.
No.
it just has to be a like project.
like
Anywhere in the
projects.
district that was
Okay.
approved in the bond.
Thank you very much.
Thank
Thank you.
you.
Next item, please.
Board member commentary.
Next item, please.
Request for future information and/or agenda items.
Mrs. Shellis?
I just wanted to let you know ahead of time that we are requesting to have space on the next agenda to report on our National School Board Conference in New Orleans.
Okay.
It's already in the agenda.
Oh, okay. I wasn't sure which one of you I had to tell.
Either one of
Anybody
us.
else? Okay, next item.
Superintendent's reports.
Nothing, we've covered it all. No other.
Future meeting dates, Monday, April 21st, 2014, HFCC meeting, 7 PM at the Andrew Mazzara Service and Conference Center in the Rosenau Boardroom, Henry Ford Community College. Monday, April 28th. Oh, is that when we have that closed session?
Yes.
We do it.
Okay, so we have a closed session, Board of Education closed meeting at 6 PM?
Yes.
At the Administrative Service Center in the Superintendent's Conference Room. Monday, April 28th, 2014, P12 Board of Education meeting, 7 PM at the Administrative Service Center in the Frank Franchi Boardroom. Monday, May 12th, 2014, P12 Board of Education meeting, 7 PM at the Administrative Service Center in the Frank Franchi Boardroom. Monday, May 19th, 2014, HFCC meeting, 7 PM at the Andrew Mazzara Service and Conference Center in the Rosenau Boardroom, Henry Ford Community College. Tuesday, May 27th, 2014, P12 Board of Education meeting, 7 PM at the Administrative Service Center in the Frank Franchi Boardroom.
We are adjourned. Thank you.